Hi guys, okay, so I'm going to now discuss labor variances. So I'm on page 36, looking at question 58. Right, so nothing so dissimilar from what I talked about when I talked about material variance. What you're always trying to do whenever you read a question is straight away you're trying to find where is the standard cost card? Where is the cost card? That's what you're trying to find straight away. Can I find the cost card? And in this question, the cost card, kind of, if you look in the bottom line, it tells you the standard number of hours needed is 5 hours to make a unit. And the budgeted rate, so please pause, make sure you have the question in front of you. And the budgeted rate is £8.50 per hour. You need this. You almost need this. There's no way you're really going to enjoy this question if you're not comfortable. This is what we expect you to use to make one unit. Cost cards are, if you like, based per unit, what we expect. So just think about a factory, and this is on the wall, and everybody knows this is kind of the benchmark to work with. Now, what actually happens here? What actually happens is that the company used 12,000 hours. So now I have something, this is what actually happened. So now I can think about efficiency. I can say, wow, okay, you used 12,000 hours. Okay, how efficient were you guys? And remember, there are two parts of the factory, so to speak. They're the folks who are actually making the stuff. So this is production. And then you have the people buying the material in. So the purchasing manager. So the purchasing manager here is buying, and it tells you that he pays £8 per hour. So when I say, so HR, they're working together to hire staff, £8 an hour. And then how many units do you guys actually make? It says 2,000 units. I hope I've been able to highlight enough over and over again that I'm interested in the inputs. These are all inputs that go into making what you actually made. I'm not interested in the 1,900 units. That's the sales budget. So the folks in sales have come up with this idea of 1,900, and we will ask that question later on, so to speak, as to why is there a difference between the 1,900 and the 2,000. But the question is not for now. That question is not for now. Right, so if it is 2,000 units, and that is what we expect, and that's what we've made, we've made 2,000 units. The question is, well, how many hours did we expect you to spend making 2,000 units? Well, 5 hours times 2,000, we expected you to spend 10,000 hours, but you have spent 12,000. You spent 2,000 hours too much. So the truth is, I mean, you're in production. I mean, all I can judge you is based on our standard cost. You have no influence. I must judge you pretty much based on the standard cost, you see, because if you don't use the standard cost, if you use this, well, you're going to be, if you like, affecting the other variance. You need to isolate the variances. We want to make sure we just clearly see what you've done based on what we expected. And so we have to keep this constant so we can then focus just on the difference between the 12 and the 10. No one is saying we will not look at the difference between the 8 and what actually happened, but that is a price variance. Okay, so what do we have? 12, the difference between 12,000 hours and 10,000 hours gives us 2,000 hours. Multiply that by £8.50, and we have an unfavorable variance, if you like, or an adverse variance of 17,000 pounds. It's adverse. Well, let's look at the price variance. So you bought each for 8, and we expected you. So you basically you got laborers for less. We expected you to spend £8.50, but you spent £8. So that's a 50p saving. Wonderful, great. We can see, well, and when, how many hours did you buy? You bought 12,000 hours. I mean, that's what you paid for, right? 12,000 hours. So now let's judge you. So you were able to save £6,000 on labor, because that's what you did. That's your department. You buy hours. So you bought 12,000 hours with this 50p saving, which is the difference between the £8 and the £8.50. Yes. So that's the, if you like, the, well, standard price times actual price, or whatever the difference is, times the actual number of hours. And so you have a 6,000. So what you can see here is we have two variances. We have this unfavorable variance of 17,000, which is the efficiency variance. and we have the 6,000, which is the price variance. And this is favorable, and this is unfavorable. And so the two of them together give us the total variance, but we can clearly see the two different types of variances. So again, get into the habit. Isolate the standard costs. Focus on the actual units produced. Be clear on how many hours were actually, if you like, used in making those. And work that way. Kind of build your answer this way. Use your standard. Look at efficiency. Look at the standards, and then, because remember, the standards, everything is about the 2,000 units. It's all about the 2,000 units. Okay, so please go through the rest of the questions, all the way 58, all the way to yeah, please do all the way to 71, please. Really important. I'll be doing them hopefully as well, and we're going to spend a whole session just going through questions. Okay, great stuff. See you in the next video.